need than that. So I definitely encourage you to come. This series was really inspired because Jonathan Curiel, who's been a journalist for a long time, has written a book or two. He wrote a very important book called Al America, exploring America's Islamic and Arab roots in our development, our history. We had him do a lecture connected to his book, and we're standing outside, and he was telling me about this really great class he was teaching at the UCLA School of Music. Right. And anyway, he's interviewed all these musicians, including Ray Manzarek, Robert Plant, Zakir Hussain, Ravi Shankar, several others. And he was telling me about this class where he was basically teaching students on how to properly interview a musician. And I said, that would be such a phenomenal event. And I've always really liked the show inside the actor studio. And so I thought, we should create that, but with musicians, but with really iconic musicians that have, really made a mark on our society and on our world. And I feel like music is one of those things that it both commentates on the world we live in, as well as transforms how we live in our world. So I feel like musicians, singers, songwriters really play an important role in the society we live in. So to welcome you, I want to introduce Jonathan Curiel, and I'll let him take it away. So thank you.
Thank you, Kareem, and I'd love to go right away with my question for Ray Manzarek. I don't think you need very little introduction, and I know there are people here that span the age ranges from very young, probably my 9-year-old son is the youngest, to slightly older than that. And it's fair to say I think that a lot of them know about your music already, and in fact it leads to my first question. I mean, the Doors are an iconic band. You sold more than 80 million albums so far, and it's growing. 1 million albums every year are sold from the Doors, and it's an incredible feat. And the first question I had is what makes you, why does the music hold up so well generation after generation? Now you hear the Doors music in places you might not have expected years ago. At NBA games, they play the Doors music.
I haven't heard it.
Yeah, my son went to a Boston Celtics game. They played the Doors. I don't know what song they played.
That's important.
Yeah.
Here he comes. Can you hear? Is this working?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I don't hear it up here.
So
LA doesn't play. They don't play LA Woman. I don't know why, but I'm not sure if they're aware of the Doors yet. Possibly they are. Neither here nor there. Why have the Doors lasted? I have no idea.
It's really.
Okay, I get this question all the time. Ray, why have the Doors lasted? I mean, what's going on with you guys? Why? See, I will answer that question, but first I will tell you the truth. And the truth is that the four of us, including Jim, let's assume Jim is still alive, we make the music. We're inside the music, creating the music. You guys are the ones who buy the records and make the Doors music last. We don't make the Doors music last. We seek to enter a timeless Zen state in which the energy of the four of us becomes an energy of one entity. That then is shot out in a live performance, out to the audience. The audience grabs onto that, they feel it right away. Human beings can feel when, there's four guys on stage and they've locked in like this. The audience is right there with us. Why we have lasted, again, I have no idea, but we did attain a Zen state of oneness with each other, which you must do as a musician, in which you immerse yourself into the chord changes, into the rhythm, into the beat, into the songs, into the words, Jim's lyrics, Robbie's lyrics, and you just lock into a zone that is a place that runners can get into. I had it happen to me twice in my lifetime on a basketball court. entering that timeless zone in which everything seems to slow down. Not so much musically, because musically you're right there, but the point of music is that rhythm. So you have to lock into that rhythm. But I've had this happen to me in a basketball court in which I was like, I can intercept this pass anytime I want. I can probably make any basket I want, anytime. And it was a lot like a flying dream, if anybody's ever had a dream in which you fly. How easy it is to fly. You know, you just have to kind of step sideways a little bit and you're up and you're off. And, you know, you just lift up into the air in the dream. So it's that same state that the musicians enter into that translates, sucks in the audience and brings them into part of the energy, become part of that energy, that state that we're all occupying. Now for the lie. Why are the Doors lasting, Grace? I want to say, how the fuck do I know? I have no idea. I don't know. Ask the people who buy the records, you know? I mean, each person should say something about this. Although what I offer is that the Doors represent a state of freedom that is highly appealing to each generation that comes along. You turn 16, 17, 18, you're a rebel with a cause, and that cause is your own freedom, ultimately, your own enlightenment as a human being. That's the whole point of it. The whole point of our existence on planet Earth is to attain a state of enlightenment. And if we don't attain that, then we're kind of always trying to grasp, trying to find it, and let's drink. Maybe that'll knock my brain out. Drink alcohol, lots of alcohol. I feel so sorry for the kids today drinking all the alcohol they're drinking. It's like, for God's sake, stop, smoke a joint, will you? Have a glass of wine. I mean, this is San Francisco, smoke a joint. Anyone ever hear of hallucinogenics, for God's sake? There's mushrooms out there, you know? If you're afraid of LSD, don't take it, you know. But I highly advise LSD for opening the doors of perception. So we represent that state of that place of rebellion, that place of freedom, that place where you can throw off the dictates of your mother and your father, your government, no offense, and your religion. So I think probably that's the first one you have to rise above. And once you do that, you're free. You're a free person on the planet. And I think that's why the Doors have lasted. They represent that search, that quest for freedom.
And that's a search that you and all the members of the Doors went through yourself when you were forming the band, before the band. You mentioned religion. You, I believe this is correct, once thought about more seriously studying to be a priest.
Seriously studying?
Well, maybe not seriously.
That's a good one. Is that what it's come to? Ray was actually going to be a priest.
Well, but religion was some there, and in fact,
When you're a Catholic, religion is very important. You know, I went to St. Rita High School, a Catholic school. Fortunately, I didn't go to a Catholic grammar school. Went to a Catholic high school, taught by priests, elegant men, very intelligent, all good guys. Excellent teachers, excellent men, men who really believed in the truth and dignity, and all Catholic boys, especially if they go to a Catholic high school, think about becoming a priest. I mean, that's a possibility because these are excellent men. They're terrific. But I never studied to be a priest. It's like if you're going to be a priest, you're going to be celibate. No, not quite. The old in out. What movie is that from? The old in out.
Clockwork Orange.
Oh, good. You're here. Yes, exactly. So that was always foremost in my mind. That and rock and roll, boogie woogie, and all of that. So.
well, but so getting away from this religious idea when you were in high school. You come to Los Angeles, you grew up in Chicago.
Yeah.
You come to Los Angeles, you go to film school there, and then as you're forming the Doors, you meet Robbie Krieger and John Densmore through transcendental meditation, or the Maharishi Center.
That's correct.
So there is a spiritual bent already.
Oh my God, taking LSD completely opens the doors of perception, and you have to, you find out what heaven is. What is heaven? What is hell? Ooh, I'm going to die, I'm going to go to hell. We're all going to hell if we die, because we've all committed a sin, especially if you're a Catholic and a male. And Mr. Willie down there, that's a mortal sin. I'm not exactly sure. I never did ask. I'm going to have to ask Father Tom, one of the chief priests back at St. Rita High School, my old high school. I can't ask him about sex, for God's sake. We're celibate. Anyway, yes, John and Robbie, LSD takers, mushroom eaters, and peyote ingesters, and Jim Morrison and I were LSD takers, and we came together after opening the doors of perception, and it was a spiritual quest on the part of all four of us, I guess. It'd be interesting though to have John and Robbie up here and say, okay, why were you in the Maharishi's meditation? Now, Maharishi is the same person the Beatles went to a couple of years later. We were on to his class in Los Angeles, second class. So what happened to me is there's heaven and there's hell, and you will go to both places. LSD just opened the doors of perception, enlightenment, the sun, the oneness of all things, all energy, all the universe is the same energy. That energy that creates the whole thing, that's God. That energy. And then I realized that the light of the sun was the purest representation of that energy that we can have in this universe that we occupy. But then there was also hell, and hell is being locked into yourself, not being at one with all your surroundings, but instead being Ray Manzarek, totally enclosed within myself, having nothing in common with anything else. I couldn't look anybody in the eye. Everybody knew my secret. My secret was one of great shame and just general pathetic asshole, which is basically what I am, a pathetic asshole. But I love you all, and we all know each other anyway. So I got into the Maharishi's meditation to find a way of attaining that psychedelic state, that state of oneness and intoxication, without having to take any chemical substances, just through a natural form of mantra yoga. And mantra is a Sanskrit word or a small phrase, couple of syllables, and repeating that over and over and over in your mind. And you can do it, and they told us this, leading the course, the man said, was initiating us, said, and it wasn't the Maharishi, he was somewhere else. Jerry Jarvis was the guy's name, great guy. And he said, you can do this with anything, any word, anything you want, you can take any word you want, and any phrase you want, and make a mantra out of that. It's the idea of repetition over and over in your mind to quiet your conscious mind and let yourself lower down into a lower state of consciousness, a calm, relaxed state in which eventually you can, quote, break on through to the other side. And that's what I was seeking to do. And I found it very helpful. You know, I don't know that it helped me attain a state of enlightenment. That had already happened. I think all you have to have is one enlightening experience, and that's all you really need. All you need to know is that we are all one, and once you know it, you only need to know that one time, and you're there. And fine, that's it. That's what it's all about. So the Maharishi's meditation. Who's in that class? Serendipity, but John Densmore and Robbie Krieger. That was amazing. Somebody told me that hey, that guy's a drummer. I was talking to somebody about Jim and I are putting a band together. A friend of mine and I, a poet, are putting a band together. And they say, well, that guy's a drummer over there. I talked to John. He Moonlight Drive, easy song, bluesy kind of song. The first song that Jim sang to me on the beach, and the first song that the four of us played together, and Robbie heard a little and said, "Oh, I got a great idea. Let me put a bottleneck on it, a slide guitar." And he opened his guitar case and that little thing in the neck, and opened that up and took out this weapon. And I said, "Jeez, where do you play, man, that you need this kind of thing?" It was a bottle cut off green, probably a yellow, thick glass, and jagged on the edges. It was about like that. You could just get it in your hand. Boy, somebody came at you, you had that thing. Huh? Whoa, you're a god. And he said, "What are you talking about, Ray?" I said, "That weapon. I mean, where do you play, man? Do you need that weapon?" He said, "Fool, that's not a weapon, that's my bottleneck." Takes it out, puts it on his finger, and goes, like Robbie Shankar. Jim loved that sound so much that he said, "Ray, I want that sound on every song." That sound. I said, "Every song?" He said, "Well, okay, all right, well, maybe not every song, but a lot of them." I said, "All right, it'll be on a lot, don't worry." And we played Moonlight Drive, and that was it. You know, I just transcended, went into outer space, went into the zone with the guys. And I told everybody, I said, "This is the first time I've played a lot of music with a lot of bands and a lot of people, but it's the first time I ever really played music. Now I understand what it means to play music in a group setting, in a band, and the oneness of music was just amazing." And so the Maharishi's meditation gave me everything I needed. I didn't necessarily get what I wanted to get out of the mantra, although I did relax and finally regain my shattered nerve ends and came back from hell, back to planet Earth, right here and right now. Came out of heaven, came up from hell, and boom, here we are, back in this marvelous creation. And interestingly, Jack Kerouac in On the Road, man, probably not more than 10 blocks from here, somewhere over on Market, and On the Road, goes to one of the bars, and there's a jazz quartet, organ, sax, drums, bass, or drums and guitar, and he walked into the place, and he said the joint was jumping, they were wailing, they were on it, they had it, and the sax player especially had it. He knew he had it, and he worked it, played it, and just worked the audience, and everybody was digging it, saying, "Go, man, go." Right over here, right here, just like no more than 10 blocks from here, 5 blocks, you could walk to the club, wherever the heck it was. And I read that in On the Road, and he said the guy had it, he knew he had it, and everybody in the club knew he had it. I said, this is back in Chicago, 58, 59. And after reading that, I went, "Had what? What did he have? What is it?" He had it. What is that? What's it? Playing with John, Rami, and Jim Morrison, I finally found out what it was. And there's no definition. It's totally ineffable. It's just a capturing of that rhythm, that Zen moment in time, both this moment, each one infinite, and yet each one right here and right now. And the Doors had it. And I told the guys, and they all went, "Big baloney, you're a big baloney, Ray." I said, "Well, I may be that, but I know what it is now." And that's the Maharishi's meditation story.
And it happened, I mean, people know your music through different songs, blues oriented, more, you could argue, psychedelic. And Light My Fire is an example of a song that most people will certainly know. But that's a song that was written initially by Robbie Krieger, and then you added a very interesting musical element to it, and then Morrison himself added, the second, essentially, stanza to the song.
Right.
And it's a really complete song because all three of you, I don't know what John Densmore did.
He made it Latin.
He made it Latin.
He gave it that Southern California, that Latino. You know that it would be untrue. You know that I would be alive. Then into 4. Come on, baby, light my fire. So it's Latino, Southern California, and then it goes into hard rock. So you hit 4 on the floor, 2 and 4. So what began as Robbie Krieger's first song, the very first song, Robbie Krieger River Road. Backstory: Jim, after rehearsing with all of us, all 4 of us, we get to the end of the songs that Jim and I had put together in the first place, Break On Through, and et cetera, et cetera. Jim then says to it, he said, all right, everybody, here's your homework assignment. Go home, we need more songs. Everyone go home and write a song over the weekend. So we get back together for rehearsal. I didn't write anything. He didn't write. John didn't write. Robbie Krieger said, I got a song. It's the first song I ever wrote. What do you call it? Light My Fire. Well, Light My Fire. That's cute. What are the chord changes? A minor, F sharp minor. A minor, F sharp minor. Real nice on the keyboards. That's a couple of sharps in there. And then back to all white keys. Great for soloing. It was a folk rock song, and Densmore said, we can't do a folk rock song. And he said, let's put a Latin beat to it or something. And he started playing a Latin beat, and then I played the bass line of A minor to F sharp minor, my left hand, as I did with the Doors. Instead of, so it had that boom, bing, boom, bam, boom, dee, boom, bum, 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 boom, bing, so you could add congas and everything else. It could be a whole Latino thing going on. Santana behind it. I'd love to have played that song with Carlos. We never did. Then Jim added the second verse. Robbie only had the one verse, and he needed more lyrics. And Jim said, I got it. The time to hesitate is through. Go for it, in other words. This was the 60s. Go for it. Do it. Time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Wallowing in the mud. Try now, we can only lose. What possible bad thing could happen to us? Try now. Do it now. We can only lose. And then, of course, death enters the equation, as it does in many Doors songs. And our love becomes a funeral pyre. Robbie said, God, Jim, why does it have to be about death in the fire? He said, it's not going to be a hit single. I told Robbie, he said, man, this is going to be a hit. This is good. And he was, wow, my first song is going to be a hit. This is going to be great. And Jim said, listen, man, don't worry. Nobody is going to listen to the words much later on. They're not going to pull it off the radio because our love becomes a funeral pyre. Don't worry about it at all. And sure enough, nobody ever commented. Not a single DJ, not an Ed Sullivan show, nobody ever said, what's that love becomes a funeral pyre? What the hell kind of bullshit is that? You can't do that on television. Nobody ever said a word about it. And he was absolutely right. So John puts the Latin beat, I put the introduction, Bach, J.S. Bach. That's stuff I had studied as a kid. And then Robbie and I together both did the solo section, A minor to B minor. It's like John Coltrane, bum, 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 ding, playing my favorite things. We do the same thing. Except we do it before, so it goes dun 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 we're playing. It's our homage to Coltrane in 4 instead of 3/4, and that's how Light My Fire came about.
Anyone here want to see Light My Fire? Yeah, because I have a clip of you playing in Europe. This is a very well-known one. Let's see here.
Oh yeah, let's take a look. Get out of your way.
I'm sorry, interrupting the Doors. This is sacrifice.